Anyway, here with reaction, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett, Fox News contributor Charlie Hurt, and Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce. Great to see you. How are you, my friend?
You know, I've known you for, what, 7, 8 years, hanging out with you. This was the first time a moment ago that you let me throw one of your footballs to the crowd.
Do it again. Make it good.
It was like Brady. Oh!
By the way, somebody's going to get killed catching a football. All right, but there's a serious issue here, and that is he did not identify, quote, the other crime.
Right.
Now, I imagine that there's recourse for that. I imagine at some point we're going to probably get a bill of particulars or something. Doesn't he have to name it at some point?
Yeah, he does. You're right, the Sixth Amendment. It is, therefore, facially defective. It is deficient on its face, and it would be susceptible to a motion to dismiss. Did he sleep through constitutional law at Harvard? Where he went to school. I sort of imagine him late one night in his office. I got to get Trump. What crime? What crime? And maybe the janitor popped off and said, well, don't say anything. And that's what he did. And he had the audacity to stand up at a news conference yesterday, and he was asked point blank, what fraud, what crime, what law did Trump violate? He said, I don't have to say. Yes, he does have to say. Let me say one other thing. Robert H. Jackson, the great Supreme Court Justice, former Attorney General, Chief Prosecutor at Nuremberg, he said something very important. He said, the greatest danger to justice is an unscrupulous prosecutor who targets a person and then scours the law books to find an offense he can pin on that person. And that's what Alvin Bragg has done.
Let's get Charlie Hurt. Charlie, let's get your take.
Yeah, well, it's maximum absurdity here. You have a situation where, according to Alvin Bragg, Donald Trump faces 136 years in prison, which, of course, is more than Bernie Madoff served for his crimes. But I have to say, what I think is kind of interesting about it is when I don't think that this is going to be the only indictment that Donald Trump faces. I would not be surprised if he doesn't face 2 or 3 more indictments before the election. What I love about this is such a circus. It's so absurd. It's so ridiculous. Alvin Bragg is so embarrassed himself, embarrassed the legal profession, that it really is going to, I think, set the tone for anything else any of these wacko, crazed, lunatic, left-wing, politicized Democrat DAs want to do to try to destroy Trump. And quite frankly, I think that Trump comes out of this thing stronger and then goes into whatever else they throw at him that much stronger.
When you look at this, Tammy, and then you see some of the president's fiercest critics, people that are not allies or people that don't like Donald Trump, coming to his defense, that speaks volumes to me.
It does, and it should. Even they recognize what this means about the country, but they should have seen it. I contend that this sort of willingness started with the FBI and the Russia dossier. The moment the federal law enforcement got away with moving forward a fake document that they knew really wasn't verified, lied to the FISA court, and really no one paid any price for that, that's when this legal system became weaponized against Donald Trump in particular. Certainly, we know that often it's weaponized against the average American, and that's why we need legal reform. So this is not a surprise. It is the natural next step, considering what we saw at the federal level with Donald Trump. I also think, though, that the dissenters, if you will, the resistors who don't like Donald Trump, especially those on the Republican side, have a duty to recognize that it was their own Trump hatred that made them blind to this trajectory, which many of us projected, that we saw all those years ago, that it's really not Donald Trump. It's what this system has become and what Republicans have allowed Democrats to get away with for generations. And that's why we have this here right now. To say Donald Trump is the problem is the most absurd dynamic. That has been the big lie. And I think the American people are seeing it. The anti-Trumpers see that this exposes that fraud to everyone. And that's the biggest thing they don't like, is that they've been caught.
Look at it, Bolton, well said. John Bolton, Van Jones, Mitt Romney, Jeb Bush. I mean, none of these people even like Donald Trump. I mean, it's very clear. I want to ask you about this. To me, when you run to attack or go after one man, Donald Trump, one organization, the Trump organization, and one family, the Trump family. And by the way, the AG, Letitia James, did that.
Sure.
And of course, Alvin Bragg did that.
And Fannie Willis down in Georgia.
Correct. All right. Isn't that prosecutorial misconduct? Isn't this selective prosecution here?
Right. But this is New York, a very liberal bar. This is the kind of stuff a lawyer gets disbarred for.
Well, Alan Dershowitz, I'm going to speak with him in a minute. He doesn't think Trump can win in New York. He thinks he's going to be found guilty.
Right. And
because the only normal people in New York are in this room. I mean, it's a fact.
85% of the people in this district voted against Donald Trump. And those are the people that will comprise the jury pool. So on top of that, you've got a biased judge. And so the deck is stacked. The fix is in. And, you know, my objection to this judge in particular, forget about his politics and the way he has always ruled against Trump in other Trump-related cases. This is a judge who presided over the grand jury. He watched what was unfolding. He saw the indictment as it was being drawn up. Now, a good, objective, fair, conscientious judge would have said, you've got to state a crime. This is defective. I won't even allow you to issue this indictment. But this judge apparently doesn't care. And now he has given Alvin Bragg 8 months to try to figure out a crime, but there is none. He can't charge under state law because it was a federal election. He can't charge a federal campaign violation because he's a local prosecutor. He can't charge felonies that are federal.
We only have about a minute left. Let me get the same question to Tammy and to Charlie Hurt. And I'll talk to Alan Dershowitz about this. Tammy, I believe they're going to start here in New York. Then there's a civil case in New York that's 27 years old about an alleged sexual assault in a department store dressing room. Then you've got the issue in Georgia. Then you got a special prosecutor or counsel looking into January 6th and the document issue, which impacts a lot of people. I believe they're going to try and hit him with so much in terms of legal entanglements that it's going to be difficult for him to run for president. Is that their strategy? Throw paper towels, wet paper towels against the wall, hope it sticks?
Sure. Well, that's what they've always been willing to do. We saw that they were willing to effectively break the law in the beginning with the Russia hoax and the FISA court. They're capable of doing anything. They are panicked over Donald Trump. And the fact is that it is interestingly making him stronger. And I think when the Democrats see the polls go up, some of these things may be mitigated, but it's overkill. And they just never know when to stop. The American people have got to be in charge of this and can't let this continue in this fashion by showing their support for this man.
All right, you get the last word. Go ahead, Charlie.
Well, just don't forget these people are the same people who hired 187,000 IRS agents, and they're not all going after Donald Trump. They're all going after you, so they have to be stopped.
Charlie Hurt.
Great.
Tammy, thank you. Greg, thank you.